Magic players have lost the plot yet again. For some reason, being a girl means that you should be treated differently or want to be treated differently. At least that's what sexism will tell you. And that seems to be what's going on in this Reddit post describing a story that happened at the LGS. And I think it just highlights a bigger problem that happens in male-dominated spaces. In a world where in these gaming spaces, board game spaces, if you dig down even deeper, just Magic the Gathering, where many males gather with other males, the gathering portion of it seems to be lost in translation through a combination of bad friends, bad social dynamics, and heck, even bad parenting. People don't know how to treat the same gender, let alone the opposite, in between, or outside. Whoever it is, people tend to suck at treating other people well. And it's kind of what I want to go over today, going over this post itself, but talking about bigger social dynamics, give you a little TLDR on how you should be not just treating the opposite sex or, again, any gender in general, just how you should be treating other people when you're playing a game and conducting yourself. Fully addressing my biases off the rip here, I'm a straight male. I don't have the female experience. I don't have the non-male experience. Specifically, just going into the female experiences because a girl is brought up here, but in general, I don't have that experience outside of being a straight male. So with that in mind, with my own perspective, kind of gross interaction I had last night. I'm at an LGS for Commander Night, and I get paired up in a random pot. Me, a guy who I played with a few times who I liked, some guy I never played with, and some girl I never played with either. Perfect. So kind of two strangers and potentially someone you know outside. Me and the two girls make it to the table first. Me and the two guys, make it to the table first and sit down. Guy who I never played with immediately starts trying to make it a game where we could get to pick out his deck. Neither of us are into it. Just go ahead and pick your deck. The girl sits down in the last spot next to him and he immediately shuts up, goes super shy and just picks a deck. Went from super chatty to almost saying nothing the entire game other than announcing cards he's playing. Yo. These are the type of people, when you're at the party, they're like, yo, where the girls at? Gets super quiet when they're there. Right? Just in general, the type of person that has not had this type of experience, they may have seen it through TV shows, they just don't get out enough. And in many ways, I feel bad for people like this because, I'm making an assumption on age here. I'm assuming this might be someone in their late teens, early 20s. I'm thinking about like the general demographic of people that watch my channel, usually from like kind of mid 20s to like early 30s. That's my demographic at least. But generally in terms of who can afford Magic the Gathering, it's probably demographic. So someone who's like, been through school and has interacted with, being I'm again making another assumption here, potentially being a straight male and interacting with potentially another straight female who they may perceive to, maybe they might have an attraction to them or not. They feel nervous, right? And so it's kind of sad because they feel like women need to be treated differently. Right? And we're going to go through this again, addressing, I may be making a lot of assumptions here, but the one assumption I feel pretty confident in is that, feel free to let me know. I don't think women that play Magic the Gathering want to be treated any differently than the other people that play Magic the Gathering. They just want to be treated like normal people. Please, women who are watching this video, the 1% of you that are in my audience, please let me know in the comment section down below. I feel like you just want to be treated like a regular human being. You don't want a different side of someone. You just want people to act normal around you, right? Right? That's a thing, right? Game starts and it looks like a decent game for the most part. Still high life totals, no clear winner yet. Girls playing Sir Conrad, shout out, great card. In terms of combo and or commander, Sir Conrad's just one of those cards where like it brings out the best in some of the most sweetest like mill cards out there. Shout out to Mez Miracorp. And not doing great, but she's not exactly losing either. Cool. She has Conrad, but not anything to do with it. No combo piece or anything. It gets to return with Conrad still in play and drops a Cabal Coffers and then attempts to cast Morality Shift. There's a short table discussion. Actually, let's do this right now. Morality Shift for the folks at home. So Cabal Coffers, exchange your graveyard and your library. Yo, this is a sick card. Wait, okay. Just so people can get like the whole thing, right? Sorry, it's a Y. Okay, so whenever another creature dies or creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield or creature card leaves your grave. So Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. So presumably So when a creature card enters the graveyard for anywhere, you take your library and you put it into your graveyard. If there's a bunch of creatures in there, this could be 7 mana, deal like 40 damage, 50 damage. Who knows? It's probably not 50, but like somewhere in the range of 20 to 40 damage. This could be absolutely massive. So that's pretty sweet. This is a combo card right here. Let me know in the comment section down below if you even knew this card existed before this Reddit post. Because let me tell you, before I made this video, I did not know this card existed. When I was kind of reading through the post, I did not know this card existed. And she's not doing great, but she has that. So there's a short table discussion where me and the guy I know says this is definitely going to end the game and we should do something about it. There's a bit of variance, but you can probably make an educated guess that yes. She says that, yeah, if that resolves, the game is over, right? So again, probably somewhere in the range of like 60 to 80 cards left in deck, probably somewhere in that range based on like fetching and tutoring and whatnot. I mean, yo, if some portion of like a third of those are lands, the rest of them is pure gas. Yes, it's creatures, but still. We move to in turn priority. Shy Guy, no blue mana open, says no response. Other guy, I'm tapped out, can't do anything. Me, the person that writing the story, Source of Plowshare the Conrad. Makes sense. Remove in response, make that the completely wrong play. Shy Guy perks up and says, wait, what? She's a girl though. Oh my God, why would you do that to a girl? You can do that to a guy. You can do that to anyone else, any other person, but a girl? And the entire table and the 2 tables next to us just kind of stops and gives him a WTF look. After a short pause, I jokingly say, well, in that case, yo, my man says, anyway, yo, I sourced the Conrad. Sounds like anyway. He nervously laughs a little and proceeds to flare of denial my swords. Nah, folks. Nah. Folks. Yo! He flares! Nah, my man is so yo, he is so, man, yo, he is, my man has never touched a woman in his life. I don't even think my man's mom gives him a hug. There is no way you're this down bad. You cannot. My man would rather lose to the girl than actually go about his own game plan. My man could have built a new deck, spent a bunch of money on it, be so excited to play the deck, but he would rather lose than hurt the girl's ego. Because for some reason, the female that came in here that wanted to be treated like a regular person is just not ready for that, right? We can't do that because we can't interact with the girl. Let her do what she wants. There's so many assumptions in these sentences that there's so many assumptions in the way this guy's playing. Flare of Denial the Swords is insane. I would trip balls. I would trip. The whole table again looks at him in shock for a second, but it happens. She casts Morality Shift, flips an Eldrazi Shuffles twice, and wins. Shy Guy's basically like, sorry, not sorry, as we shuffle up for game 2. I'll be like, get out of here. Who are you? Wait a second. Game 2, Shy Guy pulls out his group hug deck and basically spends the entire, okay, white knighting her. Okay, that's another red herring type sentence. Okay, again, for those of you, this word has kind of become like grifting. Like people have been misusing this word a lot. So you know what? Explain it like I'm 5. Maybe this Reddit post does it well. Say someone is white knighting is an accusation that they are inserting themselves into an argument or situation for the sole purpose of trying to look good and win points with people, right? It's saying that they are trying to play white knight in shining armor is often means someone who jumps in to defend someone who doesn't ask or want defending. Fair enough. I think it's used in like very negative connotations. I think that's a relatively good explanation for something here. I relate it to grifting these days because I think the word grifting is like anything right wing is like kind of grifting, when like grifting is like kind of under, like, let me make this clear. Grifting is kind of under a lot of things that people consider grifting, like right wing grifting is just worse. Like we're being diminutive by calling it grifting. That's kind of what I mean. But anyway, white knighting her. He's super confident now and trying to chat up the entire table and always commenting on her board state. It's super weird. She's uncomfortable, and there isn't a game 3. I mean, there's some assumptions there as well. How do we know she's uncomfortable? Let's, maybe she says something or the way her mannerisms, the responses, maybe. The kicker for this, the winner of game 1 gets $2 store credit, which you can use on drinks and snacks. After we say no thanks to game 3, Shy Guy White Knight proudly says he won her the game and basically meant he bought her a drink. She laughed it off and basically looks like she couldn't leave the store fast enough. Hey, yo, my man tried to rizz up. Okay, let me just repeat again. Before we get into the whole gameplay of it, let me repeat again. As far as I'm aware, from my experiences with other women in these spaces, with family members, with my wife in these spaces, that women just want to be treated normally. And it's not just women. Genders or people that aren't just cis men just want to be treated like you might treat another cis man. They just want to be treated like people. They're here to play the game. They want to draw the cards the way you draw cards. They want to cast the spells you cast spells. They want to shuffle the way you shuffle. That's it, right? Like, they just want to be part of your space, a part of the gathering. They just want to enjoy their time too. They don't want extra favors. Like, if it has this type of intent, sometimes it's fine. You make a little deal, you have a little fun. Oh man, you did this to me game 2. I'm gonna help these people make sure you that's a whole different situation, right? That can happen. That's a normal thing. But if you're just making assumptions about something and you're basing decisions off of supposed interactions that you may or may not have, your fear of offending someone so bad. Okay, let me get it through, y'all. Some of y'all thick heads, okay? Man to man here. If you have this perception in your mind that you, Flare of Denial, the game winner of this girl's EDH deck, and she doesn't like you because of it, it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you. That's her fault. She showed her hand. She's like, I can win this game. Do y'all have something? And she made a good call. Everyone was tapped out. And then this guy's like, I have some mana, I have some removal. Bet. She made a bet. And honestly, it almost came through. But for some reason, my man had a Flare Denial. Fair enough. If you got the Force of Negation, you got the Flare Denial. Fair enough. She made a good call. But this man doing this garbage is insane. And then to go on, and it's not like, we're not making assumptions here, because we can see that this man later on, again, does the group hug thing in game 2, helps her out entirely. She gets uncomfortable, presumably through her body language, through her verbiage, through her facial expressions, whatever, and then start talking about how, yo, I got her the drink. Basically, I'm such a man. Like, this is so cringe. This is just blatant sexism. And it's worse too, because people think that this is a good thing. Like, you're doing something with a positive outcome. This isn't like, she's a girl, I'm going to counter everything she does, even though I know one of these two guys are going to win and she's just trying to prevent that. I'm not like, I'm going to counter all that stuff. That's not what's going on. This is the opposite part of sexism. Sexism can be both sides of this. You can make assumptions and make situations not normal and worse for everyone around you just by, for no reason, highlighting this person. And this can be taken out of context. Like, if there was no sexism, no female involved here, this is the type of situation where people talk about, you need to keep your kind of decision making game to game. Don't let the last game affect this game, right? And that's kind of what's going on here, where like, don't let your assumptions about other people kind of affect your decision making in this game, right? Girl, boy, whatever, race, age, whatever, right? Like, just make your play, unless that person says something particular that you need to look out for. Maybe they say, I'm a new player, or they say, hey, I'm a little slow to read, or like slower with understanding certain cards. Please take your time, or if you could read out your cards, like things like that happen. That's cool, right? Someone's being upfront with you. Then you can kind of go in and ask them like how they would prefer it. You can have a conversation. This is awful. This is awful. And I feel like, again, like, I feel like I don't run into these situations. It's wild to me. Like, maybe it's because at this point I can't, because I'm a content creator. Every time I walk into a shop, like at least 50% of the people recognize me, if not most of all of them. And that's not a flex. That's just an unfortunate thing. People are like, yo, you're that TikTok guy. And I feel like they change their attitude towards me. I don't want that. I want to be treated like a normal person. And I feel like that's even worse for women here, because it feels like in a male dominated space, there's so many women out there that are being mistreated by people that want to try and impress them. They're trying to hit on them, right? It's like, I'm just here to do a thing. I'm just here to enjoy myself, whether it be, going to the gym and getting hit on, going to work and getting hit on, going to your hobby space and getting hit on. Like, you don't want that, right? And that's why you have all these situations of, these weird red herring things of like the male loneliness epidemic, which is like a multifaceted thing. You have like the way women are treated in society in general, and how like people's perception of women, like red pill content. Like this right here is like a slippery slope towards that. Because what happens when a guy like this gets rejected over and over and over again? Right? Like red pill content and this like slippery slope of like male activity, where we not only just treat other men poorly for treating women right, but also treat other women poorly in general, or just assume they're kind of the way they want to be treated. The whole Andrew Tate of it all. And that's why I wanted to bring this up. That's why I thought, like, this isn't just covering this story, but also it's a topic that's like personal to me as someone who, is actively always trying to look for a way to improve as a man. And that's going to be hard in a male dominated society when women say like, F all men. The whole idea is in many ways, for some of you that don't understand it, it's almost like and again, don't, I'm trying to make an analogy here. Please let me know if it's wrong. But in some ways, it's like how people mistreated the BLM movement, where people said Black Lives Matter, and then everyone said, no, all lives matter. And you're like, wait, hold on here. We're just trying to highlight that specifically Black people are being mistreated here. Right? They are being mistreated, and we are trying to highlight that. What you're doing is taking away from that. And so then when women say all men suck, the kind of men that they're talking about aren't going to be the ones that are offended, right? Those are going to be the ones that, even if you are offended, you might have like an annoyed reaction, but then you might be able to have some introspection and be like, hey, why am I upset at that? Like, what are they talking about here in this situation? Maybe you're able to dissect. Maybe this is a situation where, a group of people are going off and they're just nonsensically saying men suck. But maybe they are describing a situation where they went through something. You're like, wow, okay, that's actually pretty fair. Do I do similar things like that when they're talking about a story about their spouse and how they be treating them? Like, do I treat my parents like that? Do I treat my siblings like that? Do I treat my partner like that? Male, female, whoever, whatever gender, it doesn't matter. Am I that type of person? And so the whole epidemic, I'll call this, of male dominated spaces and the lack of, there's so much hate towards the LGBTQ plus group, racial dynamics, and we also have these gender dynamics in play. I can't even imagine just like the ultimate FU card in these spaces being an LGBTQ A+ woman of color with a disability. Can you imagine? Hey, can you imagine the presumed like terrible cis white male of it all would be your absolute worst nightmare? I can't even imagine. You're just trying to enjoy your hobby. You're just trying to, enjoy the conversation, be a part of a space. Yeah, you watch the movies. You did the homework to be a part of the nerd fandom, but for some reason you're not accepted because of like how you look. That's awful. And again, I'm bringing this all up because this is an extension of this, right? This is an extension of this. Because this player will then presumably treat women a certain way if they're not being nice to him. Because what is the extrapolation of this if that woman then outwardly says, hey, you're making me feel uncomfortable? How does this guy react? I'm pretty sure as a male, I can make a pretty good educated guess. Like, what's that Netflix show that that everyone is seeming to missing the point? All the terrible men are missing the point of, but everyone else seems to get the point of Adolescence, that like 4-parter about that kid that like, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, whatever, demonetize it. Like, something happens to another one of his classmates that he commits, and the show is about unraveling the kind of the steps, the multifaceted steps, and how things get reinforced through parental figures, through friends, the way the internet affects them. And it's multifaceted. Sometimes you can't stop it with these people, right? Like they might just have been dealt the wrong cards. Like maybe they just didn't grow up in the best public funded, public school. They may not have had both parents around. Again, we're all making assumptions. Sometimes people are dealt bad hands, and it sucks, right? Like you can't make this assumption with everybody. It's hard to do so also as this woman. I'm not saying it's this woman's job to even help this person. It's just like kind of shocking, right? Because for these other two people, right? Because we can kind of tell he's kind of mad. Like the moment someone used like white knighting, my alarm bells kind of go off. Like I was saying earlier, it can be a bit of a weird. It can be a weird statement. It can be a weird statement to make, but I kind of see where he's going with it. But regardless, weird statement. All in all, as far as I'm aware, women want to be treated like normal people. Us as men need to do better jobs at being inviting in these spaces, not only to women, but just of people in between in their genders, outside, just any person of race, ability, structure, I don't know, with a disability, without a disability. I'm trying to find like politically correct words for it, but let's be honest here, just anyone of any type should just be treated like a normal person. They just want to be invited into your spaces, and that's what it's about. We see the representation in all of our cards, the way there are women in our cards, the way there are different races in our cards, the way there are different intellectual levels of our cards. Like for some reason, we love goblins, which are historically very dumb creatures, but they ultimately get the job done. And we kind of make fun of people for having like not knowing something intellectually. We're in the comment sections a little too strong of our female creators, making fun of them for not knowing an interaction when they actually do, but then we don't treat our male counterparts the same way. I appreciate y'all for being in my comment sections of my shorts, my TikToks, and coming at me hard and be like, yo, you don't know what's going on, this is wrong, the interaction's wrong, this blah blah blah. Some people take it a little too far and they don't understand the context of it. And of course, someone in the comment section is going to tell me this whole conversation a little too political, at which point I would say F you, I'm a left-leaning person, F Trump, all that stuff. I'm not here for any of that. I'm here for people's rights and whatever. Magic is political. Your existence is political. Everything you do under capitalism is political. Everything you do, you breathing, existing as a person is political. So you need to actively do better as a person to better enable the environment around you. That's it. Be the change you want to see. Harder said than done. Everyone's situation is different. I can't speak for everyone, but you can use that as a baseline to then continue. If you can't be nice everywhere, you can start somewhere, one thing at a time, one conversation at a time. You can be a better person and just extrapolate from there. This is one of those situations. It wasn't an inherently negative situation, but the root of it is negative in that sense. It caused a lot of uncomfortable kind of interactions here, and overall leads to a worse outcome, not only for the woman there, the people involved in that moment, but also for that person enacting that level of sexism and that inherent bias of it, right? So going down through it, the sad thing about guys like this is they never understand why girls don't like them, even though they think they're being super nice and friendly to them. Most girls aren't looking for special treatment, and a lot of times the excessive niceness just comes across as desperate and needy. Yeah, it really pushes girls, women, and anyone just femme presenting away from the hobby to have these types of targeted experience like an animal at a zoo. Exactly, you feel soloed out. That's an awful thing. But she's a girl is insane to imagine taking seriously, especially if your goal was for her to like you while also saying her gender makes her handicapped at Magic. And that's the thing. That's kind of what you're implying. Like, it's a big slap in the face to cast your game-winning spell. You're about to be stopped, but then someone else comes in and stops them from stopping you when they could have just stopped you. Right? It's like a big slap in the face. Like, oh, you had the answer the whole time, so why are you helping me? Right? And like, okay, maybe it's cool. Like, oh, you're helping. That's great. You helped me win. But no, it's like you made that statement first of like, wow, but she's a girl. And then you stop. It's all the context, because you could have stopped and be like, hey, that card's super sweet. I've never seen it. I had to let it resolve. That's a perfectly normal way to go about it. I mean, like, I've never seen that card. That's so sweet. I had to see it resolve. That's pretty sweet, right? Okay, but the fact that you started it like that is mad weird. It's super creepy. Please, someone let me know in the comment section if I'm completely out of line here. I'm just trying to, maybe I'm going to be seen as white knighting. I just feel like men need to do a little bit better. I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm just trying to call out bad behavior, right? Let me know if I'm out of line at any point in this conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts.